an interesting story about how he was in a situation when he was 18, got out of it and turned it around. But also you had a lot of martial arts experience in the background. So tell us a little bit about how you were doing great and then you hit some potholes and then you're smooth sailing now.
Yeah. So when I was young, I got into martial arts. I got into Tang Sudo when I was really young, and then
And that's like a
Jiu-Jitsu.
combination, like almost a mix between Taekwondo and karate.
Yeah. It's like karate style punching with Tang Sudo or Taekwondo kicking.
Okay.
And then switched over, started doing Jiu-Jitsu when I was about 7 years old. Did that, competed for a couple of years, and then got injured, took some time off, got into wrestling in high school. And then, that brought me back into grappling, back into jiu-jitsu, wanting to compete again. I had dreams of wanting to cage fight and wanted to, do something with my martial arts. And then when I turned 18, I started making bad decisions in life, and I ended up getting a DUI right out of high school. I wasn't even a month.
So were you wilding out at this point, or did you just happen to get caught one day?
A little bit. I was a little bit crazy. It just
because typically
I just like to party.
You always hear that one story where it's like, I never drink and drive, and I had a couple drinks, I got DUI. But usually when you get caught, it's because you didn't get caught like 100 other times, right?
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay.
I had a fun senior and junior year in high school.
All right.
And then after graduate, I was a month out of graduating, and I was like, I'm gonna start training. I'm gonna travel around the states and find different gyms to train at, and then I lost my license and lost my car.
And so what happened in those 2 years? You just didn't train?
Yeah. I mean, I was going to my old gym where I was training gi jiu-jitsu, maybe once or twice a week.
Right.
If that. I was really.
How are you getting there?
My mom. Yeah. And I was just trying to focus on getting my license back and getting a car.
But once you got it back, and DUIs are a big deal. Like it sucks. Yeah, especially in California. So you didn't have your license for 2 years.
Legally, I wasn't supposed to have it for a year, but it took me another year to just get everything through the.
And it's expensive and it's time consuming. Yeah, $10,000 for your first DUI. That's wild. But once you got it, it was on.
Oh yeah, once I got my license and a new car, I went. And I think it was maybe like a month after I got my car, I walked into 10th Planet San Diego, and I met Manolo, and I was like, you know what, dude, like, I want to fight. He was like, are you sure?
Yeah. Are you sure?
Yeah. And I was going home from the start, and I started coming into the gym, and he was like, all right, man, he's like, I think I can put you in there, and you can do something, And
so how long have you been training with Manolo?
About 2 years.
Okay. And Manolo makes champions. If those of you who don't know Manolo, he's an old school guy. He was around the MMA game for decades now, since before it was MMA. I was just telling him that, him and I were participating in things when it was no holds barred, basically just cage fighting.
No gloves.
Pancration, they would do sometimes, they would call it. But he's old school, and he's created a lot of champions. And the cool thing about him is he creates them from scratch.
Yeah.
And so if you're a new fight, if you already got the college background, wrestling star, or you're already a star and you seem to be excelling, there's lots of coaches that can take that and work with it. There's not a lot of coaches that develop people from scratch, and Manolo is one of those.
Yeah.
How has it been training over there? Like, what have you noticed as far as a difference in you and your skill?
It's just training with killers, man. You know what I mean?
Now, did you do well when you first walked in the gym? You had a little bit of martial arts background?
No. No, I thought...
The Tang Sudo didn't translate?
Yeah, I thought that my Jitsu
MMA?
was going to be a lot better when I first started. But I transferred from gi to no gi when I first started training with them. So, the grips in general were a lot different, and just understanding, like, what I can do off my back.
Yeah.
Because I was very much a bottom fighter when I was in jiu-jitsu, in gi jiu-jitsu, but when I started doing no-gi, I transferred more into using my wrestling and being a top player.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot more important to be a top player, especially for MMA.
Yes, 100%. I mean, there's rare exceptions of people doing well in the bottom, and even a couple where they won striking on the bottom, but I would say 90-something% of the time, you're going to be in a better position and have more opportunity if you're on the top, for sure. And that's why the wrestlers do well in MMA. It translates really well. Not that the jiu-jitsu doesn't, but you have to change your jiu-jitsu game depending on how you learned it. Like you said, you were a gi guy. which lots of skills do transfer. But if you could only do one for MMA, it would definitely be no gi.
Yeah, that's why I went to 10th Planet San Diego.
Yep.
It's only
because
no
those
gi.
guys don't even know what the gis are.
Yeah. What is that? I'm already forgetting what mine was. I don't know where mine is.
That's awesome. So, what would you like to tell the fans about yourself, or potentially what they could expect seeing you in the cage February 17th?
I feel like I'm an exciting fighter. I can hit hard when I'm standing, and contrary to what my last fight was, my grappling is pretty good. I train with some of the greatest grapplers in the United States. I train with Richie Martinez, with Juliano, with Lima. Yeah. They're just
all killers.
Yeah. It's you step on the mat in 10th Planet San Diego, you better expect to get tapped real quick.
Juliana Killer Miller, big shout out. Yeah. She's going to be our commentator. It's interesting. She's Juliana from the block. She became our champion. We always knew she had the talent. We didn't know if she was going to know she had the talent, and now she's a UFC star, won the Ultimate Fighter show. And so that's really inspiring and proof that literally anyone can do it. Like, no one had a rougher background than her, and she's like, she's the star. You can't hang out with her without a line forming for autographs. Right. And so we can't wait to hear her commentate. If you guys aren't able to make the show, get the pay-per-view, epicfightinglive.com. You could hear Juliana Miller commentating, and some other superstars are commentators at Epic Fighting. It's really fun to watch, for sure. And if you want to watch his fight, epicfightinglive.com. What do you got to say about your background and what they can expect to see?
At the end of the day, don't let setbacks keep you back. Once you get set back, you just got to keep charging forward. There's nothing else that you can do. Just keep moving.
I love it. I love that message, and we're going to end on that. We'll see you guys at the show, epicfighting.com. We love you guys.